The message came on a Tuesday. It rippled through radio telescopes across Earth, a signal unlike any before. It was not random cosmic noise or the echo of a dying star. It was a greeting. In the control room of the Allen Array in California, Olivia Wright stared at the screen, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. After 15 years at NASA, she had imagined this moment countless times. Reality felt much smaller and much larger all at once. "Is it confirmed?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Dr. Alan Martinez nodded. His fingers moved quickly over the keyboard, running verification protocols. Signal origin is approximately 4.2 light-years away. The pattern is clearly artificial. They're using universal mathematical sequences as a foundation, then building linguistic structures on top. Within 24 hours, governments worldwide formed a unified response team. Captain Olivia Wright was chosen to lead the diplomatic efforts. Her background in both military protocol and xenolinguistics made her the obvious choice. Alan Martinez joined as chief engineer, heading the technical team. The first message was simple, an invitation. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Confederation, an alliance of 27 species spanning across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. They had been watching Earth for decades, and now deemed humanity ready for first contact. 6 months later, the first Confederation ship entered Earth's atmosphere. It descended over the United Nations headquarters in New York, a gleaming vessel that seemed to bend light around its hull. Global networks broadcast the landing to over 9 billion humans watching with bated breath. The alien who emerged first stood nearly 7 feet tall. His skin had a bluish tint that shifted in the sunlight, covered in fine scales that caught the light like opals. He introduced himself as Ambassador Nix Thal of the Zeltari people, one of the founding races of the Confederation. "We welcome you to the greater community of spacefaring civilizations," he said, his words translated through a device at his throat. His 4-fingered hand gestured elegantly toward the assembled human dignitaries. The world celebrated. Streets filled with parades. Religious leaders sought meaning in ancient texts. Scientists worked day and night to understand the gifts of knowledge offered by these advanced beings. For 3 weeks it seemed humanity had entered a golden age, until the diplomatic meetings began in earnest. Olivia sat stiffly in her chair at the negotiation table, listening as Nix Thal outlined the terms of Earth's entry into the Confederation. "Your species has only recently discovered nuclear fission," the ambassador said. His inner eyelids flickered, and what their cultural liaison suggested was amusement. The youngest members of the Confederation had mastered clean fusion for at least 5 centuries before consideration. Yet here we are, Olivia responded carefully. "You chose to contact us now." "An act of considerable charity," another alien representative added. This one was Jorvak of the Durasi. His species resembled giant mantises with iridescent exoskeletons and complex mouthparts that clicked when he spoke. Many on the council argued against it. Earth is barely out of its planetary cradle. Alan leaned forward. "We've sent probes beyond our solar system. We've colonized Mars." Nix Thal made a dismissive gesture. "Child steps. My own children make more impressive journeys in their play simulations." The terms became clear as the Kaidao week progressed. Earth would receive provisional membership status only. No voting rights on the Confederation Council for at least 100 years. Limited access to technological advancements. Strict regulations on Earth's space development. No permission to build warships or weapons above a certain grade. "This is not a partnership," Olivia said during a private meeting with the United Earth representatives. "This is a protectorate status at best." President Rodriguez sighed heavily. "What choice do we have? They have ships that can cross galaxies. We can barely reach Mars. We accept their terms, and humanity becomes a client species for generations," General Patterson stated. "We lose our independence before we've truly begun to explore the stars." In the weeks that followed, protests erupted in major cities worldwide. Some humans welcomed any relationship with advanced aliens, seeing it as Earth's only path forward. Others rejected what they called cosmic colonialism, demanding that humanity chart its own course among the stars. Behind closed doors, Dr. Samantha Kelly watched the diplomatic broadcasts with growing frustration. Her laboratory deep beneath the Rocky Mountains was unknown even to most government officials. Her work on theoretical physics had taken her far beyond what mainstream science acknowledged as possible. "They think we're children," she muttered, turning to her equations displayed on the curved glass board. "But they don't know what we've discovered." Her assistant, Dr. Eric Powell, nodded. "The quantum displacement theories check out in every simulation. If we can build it, we can," Samantha interrupted. "We will." Meanwhile, at the United Nations, Olivia found herself increasingly sidelined in the negotiations. The Confederation representatives spoke mainly to the political leaders now, focusing on resource-sharing agreements that seemed suspiciously favorable to off-world interests. During a rare private moment, she cornered Ambassador Nixthal in the garden outside the conference hall. "Why did you really come to Earth now?" she asked bluntly. The ambassador's scale colors shifted to a deeper blue. "Captain Wright, surely you understand the benefits we offer. Protection, guidance, cultural exchange. You called us infants earlier today," she said. "You don't exchange culture with infants. You take care of them until they grow up. So I'll ask again, why now when you consider us so underdeveloped?" Nixthal's expression changed subtly. "The universe is not always kind to young species who reach beyond their understanding too quickly." "That sounds like a threat." "Merely an observation from thousands of years of galactic history." His inner eyelids blinked slowly. "Some species need guidance for their own protection." 2 days later, Earth's leaders signed the preliminary membership agreement. Humanity officially joined the Galactic Confederation with all the associated restrictions. The ceremony was broadcast globally, heralded as mankind's greatest diplomatic achievement. That same night, Olivia Wright received a classified message requesting her presence at a military facility in Nevada. When she arrived, she found herself escorted deep underground, through security checkpoints that didn't exist in any official record. Dr. Samantha Kelly greeted her in a massive subterranean hangar. Behind her stood a half-built structure that could only be a spacecraft, unlike any Olivia had seen before. "Welcome to Project Defiance, Captain Wright," Samantha said. "I think it's time humanity showed the Confederation what cosmic infants can really do." 5 years passed since Earth joined the Galactic Confederation. 5 years of alien advisors watching over human shoulders. 5 years of technology transfers that always seemed to hold back the most important parts. 5 years of being treated like students rather than partners. Deep beneath the Mojave Desert, Project Defiance continued in secret. The underground facility had grown, spreading like roots through the earth. Over 300 scientists, engineers, and military personnel now lived there full-time, their existence erased from official records. Colonel Joseph Garcia walked through the main construction bay, nodding to workers as he passed. Above him, the Starship took shape. Nearly complete now, it stretched almost 400 meters from bow to stern. Unlike the smooth, organic curves of Confederation vessels, the human ship had a utilitarian design. Functional, powerful, defiant. "Status report," he said, approaching the central platform where Dr. Samantha Kelly studied holographic projections. "The hull integrity is at 97%, she replied without looking up. "We've solved the radiation shielding problem. Eric's team finished the life support systems yesterday." "And the drive?" Now she looked at him, dark circles under her eyes betraying weeks of minimal sleep. "The quantum displacement drive is installed. We're running final simulations now." Joseph nodded. The drive was everything. Based on Dr. Kelly's revolutionary theories, it promised to move the ship not just faster than light, but through a different approach entirely. Confederation ships used conventional warp technology, bending space to achieve faster-than-light travel. The quantum displacement drive would instead shift the ship partially out of normal space-time, allowing for what Samantha called point-to-point transdimensional movement. If it worked, it would be generations ahead of what the Confederation had shared with Earth. If it failed, the ship would likely be destroyed with all hands. "Captain Wright wants to see you both," said a voice behind them. Lisa Montgomery, head of security, approached with her ever-present tablet. Something's happened topside. In the command center, Olivia Wright stood before a wall of screens. Her captain's uniform remained crisp despite the 18-hour shift she was completing. On the main screen, news footage showed a Confederation security vessel landing at the United Nations headquarters. "They know something," she said, as the others entered. "The Kresh military representatives have requested an emergency inspection of all Earth research facilities." The Kresh were one of the more militant species in the Confederation. Reptilian with thick armored hides, they served as the Alliance's primary peacekeepers and enforcers. "Which facilities?" Joseph asked. "They claim their sensors detected unusual energy signatures. They've provided a list of 20 locations for immediate inspection. This base isn't on it, but a site just 15 miles north is." Lisa checked her tablet. "That's too close. Our power consumption and testing could be detected from that distance if they're looking carefully." "How much time do we have?" Samantha asked, her mind already calculating. 24 hours before the inspection team reaches the American Southwest," Olivia replied. "We've been preparing for this possibility, but not this soon. The ship isn't ready for a proper launch." Eric Powell entered, carrying data drives. His boyish face belied his 40 years of age and 3 PhDs. "It doesn't need to be perfect," he said. "The displacement drive checks out in all simulations. We can move the ship." "Move it where?" Joseph asked. This was supposed to be another 6 months of preparation. Olivia pulled up star charts on a secondary screen. "We have a choice to make. Either we hide the ship and hope they don't find it, or we launch now with a skeleton crew and limited supplies. If they find it, Earth will face serious sanctions," Lisa pointed out. "Probably military occupation. We'd lose any chance of independence." Samantha studied the simulations Eric had brought. "The drive will work," she said finally. "Not at full capacity, maybe 80% of theoretical output, but enough to get us beyond their sensor range instantly." Joseph looked at her sharply. "You're certain?" "As certain as I can be without an actual test flight." The room fell silent, each person contemplating the stakes. Project Defiance represented 5 years of work, trillions in secret funding, and humanity's best hope for standing as equals in the galaxy. If they failed, Earth would likely face generations of increased restrictions. "Prepare for launch," Olivia decided. "Skeleton crew only. Essential personnel. We need the best pilot, best engineer, best tactical officer. We take only what we need for a 3-month mission." "Where will we go?" Eric asked. "Away from Confederation space," she replied. "There are unexplored regions where we can test the ship properly and make contact with non-Confederation species." The next 18 hours passed in controlled chaos. Crew members were selected and notified. Supplies were loaded. Joseph oversaw the installation of defensive systems, another violation of Confederation restrictions. Samantha and Eric made final adjustments to the displacement drive. Lisa coordinated with their remaining agents in the government. "The Kresh inspection team landed in Washington," she reported. "They're demanding access to our quantum physics labs at MIT and Caltech." "They suspect something specific," Olivia said. "Someone talked." "Or they detected our test last month," Samantha suggested. "The drive leaves a distinct energy signature." As the launch countdown reached its final hours, the massive underground bay door slid open above the ship, revealing the night sky. The stars seemed to watch, silent witnesses to humanity's rebellion. "We're receiving an emergency broadcast," Lisa announced suddenly. "The Kresh have changed their schedule. They're heading directly here. New ETA 3 hours. "How did they find us?" Joseph demanded. "Unknown, but they're coming with a full security detail." Olivia made the call. "Launch now. Everyone to stations." The ship, officially christened the Intrepid but known to its crew simply as Defiance, powered up its conventional engines. It would use standard propulsion until clearing Earth's atmosphere. The displacement drive couldn't be activated safely this close to a planetary mass. As the ship rose through the open bay doors, alarms sounded throughout the facility. The remaining staff began emergency protocols, destroying evidence and triggering controlled cave-ins to hide what they could. The Intrepid climbed through the atmosphere, accelerating faster than any Earth-built ship before it. On the bridge, Olivia strapped into the captain's chair. Joseph manned tactical. Samantha and Eric monitored the drive. Confederation vessels detected, Joseph reported. 3 Kresh pursuit ships launching from their lunar base. Olivia nodded, grimly. Take us out of the system. Maximum conventional speed. Prepare the displacement drive for activation as soon as we clear the asteroid belt. The ship surged forward, pushing the crew back into their seats. Behind them, Earth grew smaller. Ahead lay either freedom or destruction. The real test of humanity was about to begin. The Intrepid raced past Mars, pushing its conventional engines to their limits. On the main view screen, the red planet grew smaller by the second. The ship carried 32 crew members, each selected for their skills and their absolute loyalty to Earth's independence. Kresh pursuit ships closing, Joseph reported from the tactical station. Their weapons are charging. Olivia gripped the arms of her command chair. Time to the safe activation zone? 4 minutes, Samantha answered, her fingers dancing across the drive control panel. We need to clear the asteroid belt. The displacement field could interact badly with large masses. A warning alarm sounded as energy readings spiked from the lead Kresh vessel. They're hailing us, said Communications Officer Ben Harris. Olivia nodded. On screen, the view screen shifted to show a Kresh commander. His scaled face filled the screen. Yellow eyes narrowed in what humans had learned was an expression of extreme displeasure. Earth vessel. This is Commander Vexakra of the Confederation Security Force. You are in violation of treaty regulations. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Olivia met his gaze steadily. This is Captain Olivia Wright of the Earth ship Intrepid. We are on a sanctioned test flight of our new vessel. Lies, the Kresh commander hissed. Our sensors detect banned technology aboard your ship. Return to Earth immediately, or we will disable your engines. Joseph muted the transmission and turned to Olivia. 2 minutes to safe distance. Their weapons can reach us before that. Evasive pattern delta, Olivia ordered. All power to shields. The Intrepid lurched as it began a series of unpredictable maneuvers. The crew held tight to their stations. On the screen, the Kresh commander's face had been replaced by the view of space once more, showing the pursuit ships adjusting course to match them. A brilliant flash of energy erupted from the lead Kresh vessel. The Intrepid shuddered as the shot glanced off its shields. Shields at 80%, Joseph reported. Next hit will be direct. 90 seconds to safe distance, Samantha called out. Eric Powell worked frantically at the engineering station. I can give the drive more power, but it increases the risk of field instability. Olivia made her decision. Do it. Better to risk the drive than be captured. Another energy burst from the Kresh ship. This time the Intrepid rocked violently, sending unsecured items flying across the bridge. Shields at 40%, Joseph said. 1 more hit will penetrate. Drive powering up, Samantha announced. Field generators at maximum. The Kresh commander appeared on screen again. This is your final warning. Power down or be destroyed. Earth children have no place among the stars without proper guidance. Guidance? Olivia stood from her chair. Is that what you call keeping us confined to our own system? Limiting our growth? We are not children to be controlled. The Kresh commander's scales darkened with anger. You will learn respect through consequences. Target their engines, he ordered someone off screen. Drive ready, Samantha shouted. Activate, Olivia ordered, dropping back into her seat. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to bend around the ship. Stars streaked and warped in impossible ways. Every crew member felt a strange sensation, as if they were both stretched across vast distances and compressed into a single point. Then, suddenly, it was over. The view screen showed unfamiliar stars. The Kresh pursuit ships were gone. So was the solar system. Status report, Olivia said, trying to keep her voice steady. Eric checked his readings. All systems functioning. Minor power fluctuations in non-essential areas. Where are we? Joseph asked. Samantha studied the navigation console, her eyes wide. According to these readings, we're approximately 47 light-years from Earth. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. The quantum displacement drive had worked beyond their expectations. A journey that would have taken even the fastest Confederation ships weeks had happened in seconds. Did we mean to go this far? Olivia asked quietly. No, Samantha admitted. The calculations were for a jump of about 5 light-years. The drive is more powerful than our simulations predicted. Joseph laughed suddenly, drawing surprised looks. Do you realize what this means? We've just developed technology that outperforms anything the Confederation has shown us. Olivia allowed herself a small smile. Let's not celebrate yet. We need to figure out exactly where we are and make sure we can get back when needed. The next hours were spent cataloging their position and checking ship systems. The good news was that everything vital was functioning. The concerning news was that the drive needed time to recharge before another jump. 12 hours minimum, Eric explained. Some of the field coils overheated during the jump. As the ship drifted in unknown space, the crew settled into their routines. They had escaped immediate danger, but now faced new challenges: limited supplies, unknown territory, and the question of what to do next. Olivia called a meeting of the senior crew in the small conference room adjacent to the bridge. We have 3 options, she explained. First, we can return to Earth after the drive recharges and face whatever punishment the Confederation imposes. Second, we can find an uninhabited planet and establish a colony beyond Confederation control. Or third, we can explore this region and potentially make contact with non-Confederation species. Going back means imprisonment at best, Joseph argued. They'll dismantle the ship and bury our research. And hiding on some remote planet accomplishes nothing for Earth, Samantha added. Ben Harris, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Our long-range sensors are detecting artificial signals. There's definitely intelligent life in this sector. This new information changed everything. Contact with unknown aliens carried risks, but also the possibility of allies against Confederation dominance. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. Captain, we're detecting an approaching vessel, the officer on duty reported. It's damaged and emitting a distress signal. When they returned to the bridge, the view screen showed a ship unlike any Confederation design they knew. It drifted, at an odd angle with visible damage to one side. Life signs? Olivia asked. Affirmative. Multiple non-human biosignatures. They're hailing us, Ben reported. Audio only, translated through our systems. Olivia nodded. Put it through. A strained voice filled the bridge. Unknown vessel. This is Scout Ship Horizon of the Novali Free States. We request emergency assistance. We are pursued by Confederation enforcers. Please respond if you are not allied with them. Olivia and Joseph exchanged meaningful glances. Here, beyond where they had planned to go, they had found others who opposed the Confederation. This is Captain Olivia Wright of the Earth. Ship Intrepid, she replied. We are definitely not allied with the Confederation. Tell us how we can help. The damaged Novali ship docked with the Intrepid in a careful, slow maneuver. Both vessels now floated in the emptiness of space, far from any star system or Confederation patrol routes. Olivia, Joseph, and Dr. Kelly waited at the airlock. Security. Officers stood nearby, weapons ready but not raised. First contact with a new species required caution, but the humans didn't want to appear hostile. The airlock cycled open with a hiss. Through the doorway stepped 3 beings. They were roughly humanoid but with notable differences. Their skin had a silvery blue tone that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Large, almond-shaped eyes dominated their faces, and their 4-fingered hands moved with unusual grace. The lead Novali stepped forward. She was slightly taller than the others, with intricate markings along her neck and arms. I am Liza, Scout Commander of the Novali Free States, she said, her voice sounding slightly musical through the translation system. Thank you for answering our distress call. Olivia introduced herself and her officers. We're new to this region of space. Until a few days ago, We believed the Confederation was the only major power in the galaxy. Liza made a gesture that might have been amusement. The Confederation would like everyone to believe that. They control much of the known galaxy, but not all of it. Some of us resist their protection. Over the next few hours, the humans learned about the Navali. They had once been a client species of the Confederation, much like Earth was becoming. After centuries of restrictions and limited growth, they had broken away and established their own territory in regions the Confederation considered unimportant. For 50 years we have built our independence, Liza explained as they sat in the Intrepid's conference room. There are others like us, the Riven Republic, the Solaran Collective, the Bastion Worlds. All species the Confederation deemed too young or too primitive to deserve equal status. And they let you leave? Joseph asked skeptically. Not exactly, Liza replied. We fled to the outer regions where their control is weaker. We avoid their main trade routes and military outposts, but when they find us... She gestured toward her damaged ship. Samantha had been quiet, studying the Novali with intense interest. Now she spoke. Your ship, what type of drive system does it use? Standard warp technology, Liza answered. Though our engineers have made modifications to increase speed and reduce detection. But nothing like what your ship just did, added one of the other Novali who had introduced himself as their chief engineer. Our sensors recorded your arrival. One moment nothing, then you simply appeared. No warp signature, no subspace distortion. The humans exchanged glances. Their quantum displacement drive was their greatest advantage. Sharing its secrets carried risks, but so did keeping them from potential allies. Olivia made a decision. We call it the quantum displacement drive. It moves the ship partly outside normal space-time, allowing us to transition between points. Almost instantly, the Novali engineer's eyes widened. That's theoretically impossible according to Confederation science. They've maintained for centuries that their warp technology is the only viable method of faster-than-light travel. They lied, Samantha said simply, or they're wrong. Either way, our drive works. Liza looked thoughtful. This changes everything. The Confederation maintains control largely through their superior mobility. Their fleets can respond to any rebellion quickly. But if there was a way to move faster, to coordinate between resistance groups without detection... You're thinking of an alliance, Joseph said. I'm thinking of freedom, Liza replied. For all species, the Confederation keeps under their thumb. Over the next day, the humans helped the Novali repair their ship. Engineers from both crews worked together, sharing knowledge and techniques. Olivia noticed how quickly they formed bonds, despite their different origins. Perhaps that was the true strength of younger species. Adaptability and openness to new ideas. During a break in the repairs, Liza showed Olivia a star chart of nearby systems. Here, she pointed to a cluster of stars. This is where the Riven Republic maintains their hidden shipyards. And here, she indicated another region. The Solaran Collective has established research outposts. How many species are part of this? Resistance? Olivia asked. 7 have established independent territories. At least a dozen more maintain secret contact with us while officially remaining under Confederation rule. Liza's expression grew serious. But we are scattered, disorganized. The Confederation picks us off one by one when they find us. A plan began to form in Olivia's mind. What if we could change that? With the Intrepid's drive, we could reach all these groups quickly. Create a communication network. Coordinate defense. Or more, Joseph added, joining the conversation. We could share the drive technology, retrofit existing ships, create a fleet that could outmaneuver the Confederation. Eric Powell, who had been listening nearby, spoke up. It's possible. The principles are complex, but the components are relatively simple. I could design a scaled-down version that would work with their warp engines. On the bridge, Ben Harris monitored communications. He called Olivia over with sudden urgency. Captain, we're picking up encrypted transmissions from Earth. It's on the emergency channel. The message was brief and concerning. Lisa Montgomery had managed to send word that Earth was now under strict Confederation control. Military vessels orbited the planet. Research facilities were being systematically searched. Anyone connected to Project Defiance faced imprisonment. "They're making an example of Earth," Joseph said grimly after hearing the news. "To warn other young species what happens when you defy them." Olivia faced her crew and their new allies. "We can't go back, yet. Not without something that changes the balance of power." Liza touched Olivia's arm in a gesture of solidarity. "The Novali haven't survived this long by fighting battles we can't win. But with your ship, your technology, perhaps it's time to stop hiding and start uniting." The decision was made. The Intrepid would accompany the Novali ship to their hidden base. From there, they would reach out to the other resistance groups. A new alliance would form, not built on age or tradition like the Confederation, but on mutual respect and shared determination. As the two ships prepared to depart, Olivia stood on the observation deck watching the stars. She thought of Earth, now facing Confederation punishment for humanity's defiance. She thought of Ambassador Nixthal and his condescending smile. She thought of all the species labeled too young or too primitive to chart their own course among the stars. "They called us children," she said softly. "They're about to learn that children grow up." 3 months had passed since the Intrepid's escape from Earth. In that time, Captain Olivia Wright and her crew had traveled to 12 different star systems, met with 5 independent species, and shared their revolutionary drive technology with trusted allies. The Novali hidden base had become their temporary home. Located in an asteroid field orbiting a red dwarf star, the base was invisible to standard Confederation scans. Here, engineers from multiple species worked together to adapt the quantum displacement drive for different ship designs. Eric Powell supervised the modifications on a Riven vessel. The Rivens were a stocky, broad-shouldered species with rough, bark-like skin. Their engineers caught on quickly to the human technology. "The field coils are aligned," the Rivan chief engineer said. "Ready for the power coupling?" Eric nodded and made the final connection. "That's the 6th ship this week. We're making good progress." Across the hangar, Dr. Samantha Kelly worked with Solaran scientists. The Solarans resembled tall, thin humans, but with reflective patches on their skin that absorbed starlight. They specialized in communications technology and were developing a quantum-based system that would allow instant messaging between allied ships. Colonel Joseph Garcia had found his place as well, training mixed-species tactical teams in new combat maneuvers that took advantage of the displacement drive's unique capabilities. "Don't think like Confederation pilots," he instructed a group of allied officers. "They expect you to follow normal space combat rules. With the displacement drive, you can jump behind them, above them, even inside their formation." On the command deck of the base, Olivia met with the leaders of the new alliance. Liza represented the Novali. Kruv, a battle-scarred Riven commander, spoke for his people. The Solaran Collective had sent Ilara, their chief diplomat. Representatives from the Bastion worlds and the Vex Conclave completed the circle. "Our intelligence network reports increased Confederation activity near Earth," Liza said, displaying a holographic map. "They've established a permanent military presence in the system. 3 Kresh battlecruisers orbit the planet." "They fear what we've started," Kruv rumbled. "As they should." Olivia studied the map. "What about the other news? From their council?" Ilara nodded, her reflective skin catching the light. "Our sources confirm it. The Kresh have convinced the Confederation Council to approve a major military operation, not just against Earth, but against all known resistance outposts. They're calling it the Pacification Initiative." "They're finally showing their true colors," Kruv said. "No more pretending to be benevolent guardians." A message alert sounded. Ben Harris, who had become their communications officer, checked the incoming transmission. "It's from Earth," he said with surprise. "From Lisa Montgomery's Resistance Network." The message was brief but alarming. The Confederation fleet was gathering. At least 20 warships, mostly Kresh designs, were preparing to jump to Earth's system. Their stated purpose was to establish permanent oversight of the problematic human species. "This is our moment," Olivia said. "They think we're scattered and hiding. They don't know what we've built. We can show them now, or we can wait until they've tightened their grip on all our homeworlds." The Alliance leaders looked at each other. For months they had prepared, retrofitting ships, training crews, establishing supply lines. Their plan had been to wait another few months to build more ships, but now time had run out. "The Novali are ready," Liza declared. 8 ships with displacement drives. "The Riven Republic can provide 5 combat-ready vessels," Crew added. One by one, the other leaders committed their forces. Together, they had assembled a fleet of 27 ships equipped with the quantum displacement drive. It wasn't much, against the full might of the Confederation, but it was enough to make a statement. The plan was simple but daring. The Allied fleet would jump directly to Earth's orbit, arriving before the Confederation Armada. They would position themselves between Earth and the incoming threat, and broadcast their demands for independence to the entire Confederation network. Final preparations moved quickly. The Intrepid would lead the fleet, with Olivia commanding the overall operation. Joseph would coordinate tactical movements. Samantha and Eric would monitor the drives, ready to troubleshoot any issues. As the crew boarded their ship, Samantha paused on the entry ramp, looking back at the assembled alien engineers she had worked with. "They called us children," she said, to Eric. "But children learn and grow faster than their elders sometimes." The fleet departed the hidden base, each ship testing its displacement drive in a short jump to ensure all systems functioned properly. Then, on Olivia's command, they activated the final jump sequence. The transition was by now familiar to the Intrepid's crew, that strange sensation of being everywhere and nowhere at once, the warping of perception as space-time bent around them. Then stability returned and Earth appeared on their view screens, beautiful and blue. 3 Kresh cruisers detected in orbit, Joseph reported. "They're scrambling fighters." "Confederation main fleet detected approaching the system," Ben added. "ETA 12 minutes at their top speed." "Perfect timing," Olivia said. "Position the fleet in defensive formation. Let's give them a proper welcome." The Allied ships spread out, using quick, short jumps to establish a protective screen around Earth. The Kresh cruisers, caught by surprise, frantically tried to establish a defensive posture. "They're hailing us," Ben said. "It's Commander Vex Kra." The Kresh commander's face appeared on screen, his scales darkened with rage. "This is impossible. Your primitive species could not have—" "This is Captain Olivia Wright of the Free Systems Alliance," Olivia interrupted. "Earth and all Alliance worlds are now declaring their independence from Confederation control." "Absurd," Vex Kra snarled. "Our fleet will be here any moment. Your handful of ships cannot stand against the might of the Confederation. Perhaps you should check your long-range sensors," Joseph suggested with a smile. The Confederation fleet emerged from warp speed, their formation perfect and intimidating. 20 warships, led by a massive Kresh dreadnought. They immediately began deploying fighters and charging weapons. "All Alliance ships," Olivia commanded through the fleet-wide channel, "execute pattern defiance." What happened next would be recorded in Confederation archives as the impossible battle. The Alliance ships, instead of engaging in conventional space combat, began using their displacement drives in short tactical jumps. They appeared behind Confederation vessels, fired, and vanished before countermeasures could target them. They jumped inside tight formations, causing Confederation ships to collide trying to avoid them. The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. Not a single Alliance ship was destroyed, while half the Confederation fleet was disabled or severely damaged. The massive Kresh dreadnought drifted powerless, its weapon systems offline. "Confederation command ship is hailing all vessels," Ben reported. "It's not Commander Vex Kra. It's Ambassador Nixthal." The Zeltari ambassador's face appeared. On screen, his usual composure shattered. "Who speaks for this rebellion?" "We all do," Olivia replied as the leaders of the other species joined the transmission. "The Free Systems Alliance represents species who will no longer accept second-class status in the galaxy. The Confederation Council will never recognize. They already have, Ilara of the Solarans interrupted. Our representatives on the council report an emergency session is underway. The balance of power has shifted, Ambassador. 3 days later, the Intrepid returned to Earth proper, landing at the original Project Defiance facility. The hero's welcome was beyond anything Olivia had imagined. Thousands gathered to witness the ship's return. Lisa Montgomery met them, at the landing pad, tired but triumphant. You did it, she said simply. We all did, Olivia replied. As she looked out over the crowd of humans celebrating their new place in the galaxy, Olivia thought about how quickly everything had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been dismissed as cosmic infants, too young to have a real voice. Now they stood at the center of a new alliance, their technology having proven that innovation, not age, was the true measure of a species' worth. Ambassador Nixthal had been right about one thing. Children do grow up. Sometimes, faster than anyone expects.